Hello everyone, this is Shantanu from Hindustan Times. Firstly, I want to say that I watched the show for the last 2 days and I loved it. I'm still reeling after kind of watching the show. I'm still in that haze, but truly, truly important and stunning work. I want to congratulate all of you in the
Thank
beginning.
you so much for watching all
Thank
of
you.
it. Thank you, Shantanu.
But Richie, I have a complaint because I watched the first 3 episodes 2 years ago when it
Oh,
premiered, and I
no,
was
that,
like,
yeah, year and a half. Yeah, last January it would have been. Yeah.
So I was like, where did the show go and why is it not releasing? Because I had just seen 3 episodes and it kind of ended in that cliffhanger,
Yes.
third episode. So I was like, oh my God, what happened? But now, cut to 2 years later, we are here with the show. Talk to me a little bit about what happened in these 2 years.
Yeah, again, it wasn't 2 years, right? It's been 14 months, 13 months. You saw it January of last year. So 13
Okay,
months.
right.
But the fact that it feels like 2 years is actually a compliment.
Yes.
Also, the actors, we've actually been waiting for over 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys
So-
finished in June of
Yeah.
22, right? So yeah, just
Yeah.
about 19 months, 20 months.
Yeah.
So, what has happened? I told you. I'll tell you what's happened. Was the animals, because we had finished episode 1, 2, and 3 with the animals, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 were not done at that point, and we needed time. And as you can tell, it required work and had to be flawless. So the team that we were working on, I was not going to rush it because this is, I think, especially that aspect of the story, I think it's very unique and very special, and I wanted to make sure once it goes out to everybody that we've done everything we can. So it took time to get the series teaming with the life we needed.
Okay, now to connect to the waiting, you have said previously that you first read about this particular Ivory Raid incident back in 2015 while you were working, while you were making India in a Day, right? And now 9 years later, kind of, I mean, this project also took a lot of time because in between you made Delhi Crime, and then there was a global pandemic. So how was there always a research going on in this process between these years?
Because there was, after India in a Day, when I learned about it in 2015, I was at that point still writing Delhi Crime and finishing writing and financing Delhi Crime. So my mind was in that zone, and I needed to go through that journey and that process, and I knew it. And then but then I never forgot about it. So, for example, episode 1 of Delhi Crime, there's a scene where Rasika Dugal's character finds tusks in a random traffic stop. And so I was putting things into Delhi Crime to make sure I didn't forget to do Poacher afterwards as a note to myself. And while I was in post-production on Delhi Crime, I started the research process on Poacher. Now, I didn't begin the process with the idea of doing an 8-part thriller wildlife crime series. I began the process just to learn about it as a human being, and understand it more for my own life, my own well-being, my own perspective on the world. And then it started to translate to this is actually very interesting and very complex, and I think the world would benefit seeing this, and I think the wildlife crime fighting world would benefit the world seeing this, would benefit from the world seeing it. So it formed over time.
Okay, now coming to Dibyendu and Roshan, the shoot for Poacher kind of, obviously it was on location, I believe, for a couple of months at least. All of you must have been there with the entirety of the set. And I was also wondering, since you're playing real people, because these are real characters who had done the work, so what was your approach to the character? Roshan.
Yeah. No, the shoot was incredible. This is looking back at it now that it's been 2 years. Looking back and all seems like a phrase that makes sense. It's been one of the most exciting shoots that I've been part of. One of the best teams that I've worked with, and we had so much fun shooting this. Really like serious dark crime thriller about ivory poaching that it's it feels almost wrong to say, but we really did have a lot of fun shooting it. And part of the one part of that reason is also the character that I get to play in this. You've seen the show, so you know, but like for the benefit of others who haven't, it's his name's Alan Joseph. He works at the Wildlife Trust of India, and he's many things in life, many things that I am not. So he's very distant from me, but he's also overall just like a fun, energetic, proactive guy. He knows how to get things done, and he has his own, inventive jugadu ways of getting things done. And the way he thinks, the way he problem when there is a problem, and the way he carries out these tasks that are very important to him, and end up helping a lot in this investigation that this team is on. All of that is a lot of fun. So a lot of this, and like more was already in the script that Richie gave me. It was one of those scripts that I read and I immediately wanted to like go shoot for it. It was that exciting a read. And then obviously I got to talk to this person, this real person. His name's Joe Stewart, the guy the character is based on. Incredible person doing some incredible things in life. Got to speak to him, got to meet him a couple of times, get to know him. And yeah, that definitely helped. I think that brought in a flavor to this, which otherwise I'm sure I wouldn't have had. And while I was working, I like sort of always had this. Okay, now from what I know of Jose, how would he react in this situation? What would he be like in this situation? That was an interesting process to be on. Then you always get to like reconfirm that with Richie or with what's written in the script. And when those things align, then it's nice to just go with the flow.
Dibyendu sir, would you like to add to that?
Yes, same here. Actually, when I read the script, I was actually quite impatient, like when we go for the shoot. And particularly at that point of time in my career, I was doing a couple of things, together. Like, there are series, there are shows I was doing, but I was always focused on this series that डेट इसका बाकी किसी के साथ क्लैश नहीं करना चाहिए. मैं इसका डेट, जब भी डेट्स इसके आएंगे, इसके डेट सॉलिड होने चाहिए. बिकॉज समथिंग बहुत, आप सारी चीजें बहुत करते रहते हैं, लेकिन कोई एक पर्टिनेंट फिल्म होता है, कोई एक सीरीज होती है जो आप करना चाहते हैं. और बाकी आपको तो पता ही है, ये कैरेक्टर जो है, ये एक रियल लाइफ बेस्ड कैरेक्टर है. ये एक मिस्टर नील बैनर्जी जिसका नाम है, लेकिन एक्चुअली अमित मलिक जो जिनके ऊपर बेस्ड है ये कैरेक्टर, वो एक इंटेलिजेंस है, अभी केरला फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट में फील्ड डायरेक्टर है. सो इसके साथ अभी बहुत सारी चीजें जो है स्क्रिप्ट में, इस कैरेक्टर के साथ बहुत लेयर्स भी ऐड, बहुत ही पूरे स्क्रिप्ट में रियल लाइफ कैरेक्टर के साथ साथ इसको फिक्शनल किया गया, थोड़ा सा इसको ड्रामेटाइज किया गया. और इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट ये होता है कि जब आप दुनिया के बारे में पता चलता है कि रियल लाइफ लाइक वाइल्ड लाइफ क्राइम फाइटर्स, जो आपको मुझे तो कभी आइडिया नहीं था इसके बारे में कि ये कुछ ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं. तो खुद मतलब अपने आप से ज्यादा मुझे इम्पोर्टेंट लगना शुरू हुआ कि ये एलन जोसेफ कौन है, ये फिर ये माला योगी कौन है, इनके लाइफ भी. बिकॉज आप जब किसी सीरीज में, ऐसे सीरीज में इतना कोहेसिव, इतना इंटरेस्टिंग और इतना कॉम्पैक्ट सीरीज होता है, आपको खुद से भी ज्यादा दूसरों के बारे में पता होना बहुत जरूरी है. बिकॉज एंड ऑफ द डे आई एम रिएक्टिंग टू with them, and I'm getting information from them also, and when I listen to their dialogues, then automatically I'm there on the scene. So it's very important to understand that other characters also. So मेरे लिए ये characters बहुत ज्यादा important थे, because ये जो कुछ कर रहे थे और इतना जेन्युइनली कर रहे थे, इतना रियल कर रहे थे, इतना नेचुरल कर रहे थे, सो दैट मुझे भी इतना मजा आता था कि मैं अपने कैरेक्टर को इतना अच्छी तरह से जी पा रहा था. So it was a fantastic process. I really enjoyed shooting Poacher.
That's wonderful. Now this is a question to all of you. Now Poacher I'm also curious to see how Poacher uses the syntax kind of. It has also a lot of Malayalam dialogues, and then there's Dibyendu sir who's also speaking in Bengali, which was a delight to see. Now, Richie, tell me about directing actors in a language that you don't speak in. And then the actors, how did you contribute to that process? How were you kind of getting in and understanding what he was trying to say in another language?
Sure. The process is very laborious. It's just lots of checks and balances. For me, obviously, I wrote the series in English, and then I basically label what dialogue needs to be in Malayalam, knowing the real people this is inspired by. And then, and obviously with Hindi, that's not an issue for me. And Bengali, I don't know Bengali, but I can recognize it. So it becomes easier for me to recognize what's working, not working. But certainly the Malayalam was a big challenge for me. And we had an amazing Malayalam dialogue writer, Gopan, who basically came in. He's one of the most celebrated writers in Kerala cinema and theater. And we had lots of discussions about the script. He understood that I needed to keep it as close to the English as possible because the English was based very much on inspired by a real case and an active case. So I had to stick to the facts. I couldn't deviate poetically on many situations. So he understood that. He did his first pass. And then we had several checks and balances on set. We would reread. I would get to somebody else to just read what Gopan had done without knowing the English script and come back to me. And then we would, every morning when we were shooting, we would sit in the vanity van and just go through every scene. Roshan was very good about every scene Roshan was in and involved in. He was very good about triple, quadruple checking. Did something slip through the cracks and does it not quite translate properly into Malayalam? And then there was obviously regional dialects, which I have no idea about, but I had to take cues from other people. So it was a challenge. And then we did it all in post-production again. If sometimes an actor, something slipped through that they didn't quite track in their own accent, we would catch that again and try and fix it in dubs. And the actors really came through. I mean, I know when I'm directing Debu in a scene with Hindi, certainly with Hindi, but even especially with Bengali, that these are thought languages for Dibyendu. So he can actually deviate because he can think in those languages, and it's totally fine. Because I know he knows the essence of what we're trying to do. And same with Roshan. I trusted him so that sometimes, and I trusted he understood because he met the real fellow. He understood what I was trying to do. So oftentimes he would, I think, catch himself too. This can't happen. And I would have done this in another circumstance.
Roshan, would you like to add to that?
No, I think for me, I never looked at this as a hurdle. It was actually very, very exciting for me because for a few years now, I've been thinking that in a country like India, we really need more multilingual projects happening. Mm-hmm. We're not living at a time where people are restricted to just one language or two. You just look at the actors in this show itself. Everybody can handle 3 languages or more. Dibyendu can handle 4. He's actually speaking in Malayalam also in the show.
Yeah.
In the show, so this is the space that I'm very, very excited about exploring. It was also very interesting to obviously all the work that Richie mentioned did not feel like tough labor because of that excitement. And it was also very interesting for me during shoot how Richie would still be able to catch when a line was delivered dishonestly, even if it was not in a language that he understood. Which was also, and this is while we're shooting it. It's not like he's got subtitles. He obviously knows the script, so he knows what the exchanges are, and he knows what the conversation essentially is about. But if there was a dishonest beat in the performance, he was still able to catch it. And then obviously he'd come and confirm with us. And it's happened multiple times that after a take, I'd walk up to Richie saying, "Hey, I need another go at this one thing," and he would already know which moment I was talking about, even though it was a line in Malayalam or something. So that was again one of, I guess, Richie's superpowers. But it was very exciting to work with that.
Yeah.
Okay, I loved actually, and I loved watching Dibyendu's Bengali scenes because they were such a pleasure to watch. Actually.
No, actually, yeah. So, the thing is that मैं वो इसी में थोड़ा सा और बोलना चाहूँगा कि because the whole series, it's about life. It is the life. So we are all living being. So अगर real life में अगर मैं केरला चला जाता हूँ तो मुझे communicate तो करना पड़ेगा. So मैं किस लैंग्वेज में कम्युनिकेट करूंगा? I'll start speaking in English. फिर पता चलेगा कि इंग्लिश समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो मैं हिंदी ट्राई करूंगा. हिंदी भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो मैं because I'll go for the sign languages. But it is end of the day, it is communication. So as an actor also, as a cinema creator also, we are communicating in a अगर हम लाइफ में रहते हुए अगर कैसे कम्युनिकेट करें, it's as easy as that. मुझे लगता है कि बिकॉज ऐसा होना चाहिए जिंदगी में, क्योंकि एग्जैक्टली मल्टीलिंगुअल प्रोजेक्ट अभी बहुत होना चाहिए. मुझे तो लगता है कि दैट इज वेरी रियल, एक्चुअली इट लुक्स वेरी रियल. And another thing is that when you see, Bengali is my comfort zone because it's my mother tongue. Like, but at the same time, because you're getting those dialogues, but then because you can think about thinking in that language, you know that language so well. So जैसे कि रोशन को भी पता है, रोशन के भी साथ ऐसा होता होगा, मेरे साथ ऐसा हो रहा था कि अरे रिची मैं ना इस लाइन को ना मैं ट्विक कर सकता हूँ, because you know कि it is not coming, you know, like what I want, really what I want to say. Then मैं रिची को बताता था कि ये ऐसा करेक्ट, दिस इज आई वांट, लाइक ऐसे ही होना चाहिए. So you know, okay, so that is the essence of the scene, that Richie knows the essence of the scene. Richie knows what is there, the honesty, truth. So अगर वो deliver हो रहा है, so everything is done, everything is fair.
Okay, and quickly, one last question, okay? I want to add how Poacher brings forward its altruistic argument with a lot of care, I feel. And I found that very rare because I don't see a lot of shows that kind of bring in the juxtaposition of the Anthropocene plus the altruism that is kind of so relevant now, not only relevant, but important as well. I was also wondering if there's any particular incident for the three of you that has changed your outlook towards the world or motivated you in some manner. Richie, would you begin?
I mean, look, honestly, it's actually, Roshan implied it earlier. Every time I meet these real people, I still meet them, the people the show is inspired by. I was with them a few weeks ago. Every time I meet them, they haven't stopped, right? This operation that we show was 2015. It was 9 years ago for them. They've done things since then, and even when you meet them now, they're on something else. So I get inspired by the fact that I take 5 years to tell the story of one of their exploits. They've done 100 things since then, and the issues have evolved as well. And so they're evolving. So what I get inspired by is the fact that if you're doing this, if you are a true altruist and you're doing this for the good of all life, humanity and non-humanity, that's an attitude in your heart, and that's not project specific. That doesn't wait for gratification. Once you've finished one, you're on to the next because you're doing it for your own. You're doing it for your own internal reasons. And I get so inspired by them because for them, they're going to do it until they have no more life left.
Yeah.
They're not doing it and taking a break.
Yeah.
I'm immensely, consistently inspired by them.
Roshan and Dibyendu, any last words on that?
I mean, like, this is the kind of work I guess one can only do selflessly, because if you go into it with any other attitude, you'll probably end up being disappointed. You won't be able to see it through. For me personally, I've just been on this curve of, you know, like growing consciousness. My curiosity helps, and like, you know, there are so many relevant issues out there that you need to constantly educate yourself about. Poacher was just one very, very important chapter in that, I would like to believe, where, you know, I was flooded with information I didn't have before. I kept meeting more and more people who inspired me, like Richie said. And it's not even just the real life people who these characters are based on. Even people from our crew. The reason why, like, somebody would back a project like this, you know, like the reason why Richie would spend so much time of his life working on something like this, or even the way that the crew that worked on this worked. It wasn't easy by any means. I constantly kept saying that it was a lot of fun and all of that, but it wasn't easy work. It was fun because we decided to have fun doing it. So yeah, there are a lot of factors that inspire me, and I hope that continues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the same here. But actually, the life of this wildlife crime fighter, when like आपको इनके बारे में पता चलता है, और आप जब आप ये कर चुके तो आप वही रिची कह रहे थे कि ये लोग अभी तक रुके नहीं है. सो लाइफ अभी रुकना नहीं चाहिए, बिकॉज यू नो कि जो अवेयरनेस जो पैदा किया हुआ है, जो अवेयरनेस मेरे अंदर भी आया हुआ है, बिकॉज मैं इतना अवेयर नहीं था, मतलब मैं एक जनरल अवेयरनेस मेरे बचपन से मेरे अंदर था, लेकिन अभी इस प्रोजेक्ट करने के बाद, ये सारी चीजें जुनूनी लोगों को देखने के बाद, एक एक ऑफ कोर्स एक डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट मेरे दिमाग में खुल गया है. आई विल बी I'm sure, I promise that I'll be more aware towards my society, towards my nature. Definitely.
That's a wonderful note to conclude on. Thank you again for doing this, and all the best.
Not at all.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Shantanu.